Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Bronson. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, tier list rankings, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for, well, my top 3 favorite John Candy films. The reason being is because on October 31st, I should say, there's no such thing as a 35th. On October 31st, it would have been his 75th birthday, because he was born in 1950 on October 31st. So, yeah, he would have been 75 years old if he had been with us to this day. I know there's a John Candy documentary. I have not seen it yet. I don't think I've been requested it. I've heard good things about it. But John Candy is one of those guys that I was always a big fan of. When I was a kid, I would see films like Spaceballs, Summer Rental, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, among many other films. Stripes and his character of Ox, really enjoyed that character. I remember The Great Outdoors, Uncle Buck, a lot of films of his I watched way back in the day. And I remember hearing when he passed away around 94, 95-ish, and it was sad. I'm like, man, this guy died way too young. And he did. I mean, if by today he would have been 75, I wish he was still with us, but sadly, he did not get his weight under control. Then he did projects like Wagons East, where he's out there in the sun and the heat and the physicality. Just being on a horse takes a bit out of you, and he would get a bit bigger and bigger with each year in the 90s, and it just caught up with him, and it's sad. It's sad because he, on a selfish fan level, it's like, man, there's so many other stuff he could have done, so much other stuff he could have, been a part of. And he just seemed like a nice guy. Like, all I've heard is that people loved the guy. People loved working with the guy. People said he was a gentleman. And, there's I've seen most of his films, almost every film he's done, I think. Including, like, some of the big roles he did back in the day. Like, there's one with, I forget what it's called, but the VHS had, like, him and Anthony Perkins. And John Candy's in this movie, like, 1 or 2 scenes. So it was false advertising. There was The Clown Murders, which is kind of this, not really horror, kind of a, I don't even call it a thriller, but I don't know, wasn't that great. And again, there would be films that after the fact they would advertise, and he would only be in a couple scenes, but they make it seem as if he was the star of the film. And there was films he did star in that I wasn't a fan of. Going Berserk, I was not a fan of. Volunteers, I did not like at all. But, Splash, supporting role in that. I liked him in that. Stripes, I love the film Stripes. I love his character of Ox. I joined in so I could be a lean, mean, fighting machine. Fighting all the girls in the mud. Oh, I did it. He's got all the bras and stuff. But I was thinking, like, top 3 favorite films, favorite performances. It's hard to choose because the ones I'm leaving out, I wanted to pick 3 films like he was one of either the star or the main co-star. Because if I'm talking films in general, Stripes would be in the top 3 because I love that film dearly. So he's in the film, so technically that would be in the top 3. But yeah, I just want to concentrate on films he starred in. I know that may not make sense. Cool Runnings is one I enjoy as well. But if I had to pick the third one, I want to go a little bit offside, a little bit off the usual beaten path. Plus, I was thinking about this film because I do want to rewatch this film sometime because it's been a long time since I've seen it. I do remember liking it, but I do want to. I don't know when I'll rewatch it, but I do want to rewatch it sometime. So number three, I put Armed and Dangerous because I do think that film's a bit underrated. I remember that film being fun. I remember John Candy working well with Eugene Levy. You had Meg Ryan in the film. It was cool. That was a bit of an action film because Mark L. Lester, who did Commando, did it. There was definitely some humor involved as well. I like the idea that they were, security guards, and then they go through these little misadventures. And I remember the ending, but you have a little cameo with Steve Railsback. Nice to meet you, Slim. And John Candy. It was cool to see John Candy as an action star. That'd be one of the only times you really get to see him as an action star. And I thought that was a nice joy, bit of joy and bit of a different direction, and nice to see him get the opportunity to do something different. I think at one point Tom Hanks was going to be with John Candy, but Tom Hanks was doing other stuff. So then John Candy's like, "Why don't you get Eugene Levy?" It probably would have been a bigger hit with Tom Hanks in it. Tom Hanks with Big and some other, even Turner Hooch to an extent was, getting. Although The Burbs is my favorite of his, but that didn't do anything, sadly. But I think at one point John Carpenter was going to direct the film, which is interesting. But then something didn't work out with that, so I think Mark L. Lester's like, well, I wanted to make an action film, but then they just wanted to be funny, which makes sense because they're comedians, so that'd be the important job for them. Got hated on, flopped at the box office. No one really talks about Armed and Dangerous, but I remember liking the film. So while there's a part of me that wanted to put Uncle Buck or The Great Outdoors or other films that he starred in that I like, Armed and Dangerous, as of now, if you ask me a month or two, I might put Uncle Buck or other, because I'm thinking, well, probably Uncle Buck would be number three, but Armed and Dangerous, maybe just again. I've been in the mood to watch that, so I liked how he got to be a little bit of an action star, which was cool. But number one and number two, these are always my top two. Number two, I would usually say is number one, but I do think what I put as number one is the better movie. But number two, I put Summer Rental. A lot of times I would say that's my favorite John Candy film because that was what he got to star in, and the film depended on him and him alone. Because other films he had Tom Hanks or Steve Martin or other people, Bill Pullman, and it was like either a buddy team, Brewster's Millions with Richard Pryor, which I liked that film. But this was he got to star in. It's on his and his shoulders alone. And I thought he did a really good job. He showed he could carry a film. And Summer Rental has always been one of those movies I can enjoy. I watched many times when I was a kid. I'm glad it finally got a Blu-ray. I actually got it over there, the Blu-ray. From I like the musical score. I remember him, being late for work, and he got the eggs. And he's like, "Oh, my fault. I sure told her I wanted all of them hard-boiled." And him being scared, where's the plane, and realizing there's a fly on there and he needs a vacation. There's all the mishaps that happen. They're in the wrong house. Then how piece of shit place that they're at, that's kind of near the beach, and all the people going through, and then the people staying at his place. Him hurting his leg. My favorite bit will always be where there's a guy on his bed watching the Smurfs. Hey, bud, yeah, I'm trying to watch the Smurfs. Oh, yeah? You like the Smurfs? Huh? Did you see the one where Papa Smurf took a crutch and smashed the shit out of a guy with a red hat? Did you see that one? Huh? Did you see that one? That always cracks me the ever loving fuck up. I love that scene. Um, God, why can't Rip Torn? I like Rip Torn in the movie. Of course, Richard Crenna, which I'm a big Rambo fan, obviously. So it's great to see Richard Crenna as the villain. I thought he played a fun dickhead villain. John Larroquette, nice to see him. Although a lot of his scenes was cut out because there was supposed to be this subplot where him and John Candy's wife have like a bit of a romance, possible romance, but they cut all that stuff out. That's why it seemed like John Larroquette was going to play more than it did. I will say the sailing stuff slows the film down a little bit, where it's not. It kind of loses the comedy in the third act. It's just more about this sailing race, which I mean, I'm still having fun with it because I like the characters. Even that the girl, which had that, there was that weird dub where they got like some, I don't know, 40-year-old lady to dub this 10-year-old kid for one line, which I never understood why. But I don't think it was ever explained. Or maybe, I don't know. It's a weird, I don't know. It was always weird. But, like I said, it's not, it's fine. They win the race and everything's fine and dandy. They did something as a family. They had a bit of a little adventure. A lot of films in that era kind of ended with some kind of race or some kind of thing. Okay. I think it was fine. I didn't mind the sailing scenes. It's not the most interesting part of the film for me. The comedy and the mishaps was more fun stuff in the first half of the film. But I still really enjoy the film. It's a childhood favorite of mine. And Carl Reiner directed. I thought he did a good job. So I still quite like Summer Rental. I know quite a few like me grew up with that film. And again, usually I would say that's my favorite John Candy film, but in all honesty, this is a better film. Number one, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Because while John Candy has more to do because he's the central focus of Summer Rental, this is my favorite performance from him because he'd be funny, but he has some really good emotional moments and little emotional points in the movie. He's the heart of the film. Him and Steve Martin have fantastic chemistry with each other. It's a story that I think people can relate to, especially during the holiday seasons, whether it be Thanksgiving, which this takes place, whether it be Christmas, whatever. I was on a Greyhound bus at one point and it felt like it was a fucking journey, but not nearly as much stuff as this happened. But the way John Hughes directed the film, the editing of the film, they had a lot of footage cut. I mean, I think wasn't like an hour or such of footage on the which someone did like a fan cut of. And it's like, I can see why it was cut, because if you watch it with all the footage in, it does hurt the pacing. But it's very fascinating to see. It wasn't even all the deleted scenes they could find. Because I know there's still some I heard about that wasn't on there. But that's still, fascinating to me. Like, you shoot so much, and you have to cut it, and it's the way it was paced well. The use of the music. Do 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 do. I just still remember the musical cues, like when they're waiting at the airport, like the harmonica. And you just feel the struggle these guys go through. And there's still scenes in that movie alone. Steve Martin, the scene where he gets pissed at the airport. I don't appreciate the way you're speaking to me. I don't appreciate the way your company left me in the middle of fucking nowhere with fucking keys to a fucking car that isn't fucking there. I had to walk across a fucking runway and what was it, a driveway or something, to stand and have you smile on my fucking face. I want a fucking car right fucking now. But then you have some, it's my favorite performance because you really feel the heart of that character, where it's like, I'm the real article. What you see is what you get. And if you watch the deleted scenes, you feel a little less sympathy for John Candy's character, because he does some stuff that's pretty questionable. That's like, I get no one has perfect manners, but some of the stuff you're doing, what Steve Martin says and does is a little bit more understandable. So we don't feel as much heartfelt towards John Candy's character. But the editing, I think, helped that quite a bit. So, but yeah, the finding out that he's homeless, that his wife had passed away, again, some nice heart to it. That really, it was a nice feel good movie. Again, the two had great chemistry with each other. And it's my favorite John Hughes film. It's my favorite Steve Martin film. So why not be my favorite John Candy? It's a great movie. It's a great movie. That's why a lot of people watch it, every year around this Thanksgiving time. So it fits very well. So I have to go with Planes, Trains, Automobiles. And just the way his character, you just really feel sorry for him and what he goes through. I have to put that at the top. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.